Oh yeah, y'all already know what time it is. You already know what's going on. I am your host, Cam Silver,
I am your co-host Kyle Silver.
and welcome back to another episode of the Silver Boys Podcast.
Hey,
Hey
talk
man,
to me. Talk to me. What's up? What's up?
we are officially now into what they call it week zero in college football. So
Mhm.
we actually have a ranked matchup coming up this weekend where Iowa State and Kansas State.
Okay.
But we are also in the last week of the preseason. So this is where all the teams are doing their fine tuning and everyone's getting their last looks onto, whoever needs, a position or whoever's, battling for a position right now. So yeah, we are in say the home stretch right now with the football coming back.
Yeah, man. Home stretch here. All the teams, making going to be making their final cuts and whatnot. To get that 54-man roster right. So a lot of moving pieces that's going to be coming. Just from guys and names that we haven't heard, but people that probably deserve to be on certain teams and whatnot. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I mean, week zero, college football, and then we got, starting, next week. Gonna have actual week one football, man, which is great. I'm so happy that they did the week. It's just 3 weeks of preseason. That's just the best thing that's happened so far.
Yeah, man, but well, man, excited for it, but man, we got some. Actually, before we even get into the breaking news, just like a little minor something. So the Texans actually traded wide receiver John Mechie and a sixth-round pick to the Eagles for a tight end, Harrison Bryant, and a fifth-round pick. John Mechie is another speedy receiver out of Alabama. I guess the Texans were a little overloaded with receivers, and then they decided to trade it off to the Eagles, and they needed a tight end too. So I would say a fair trade, but the Eagles they just get a little better with another speedster. So, ugh,
Great, great, just
just
great.
great,
As if they needed any more help, right?
just great. But the breaking news, though, the Colts name Daniel Jones, the starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson Sr. Now they'll have to make a decision with Richardson's fifth year team option coming up in 2027. But Coach Steichen said that he's not planning on this being a short-term arrangement. He wants this to be something full-term. And matter of fact, he said he's the starting quarterback for the season, and I don't want to have a short leash on that.
Wow. Yeah, that's some bombshell news, especially in the case of Anthony Richardson. Um, I'm a little disappointed because, uh, he was the one that had the highest ceiling out of, a lot of people. That's what a lot of people were bringing on, his ceiling being so high and him progressing. But obviously, with them starting Daniel Jones, I would think that the Colts think that Anthony Richardson just needs a lot more time to progress and really, like, just get behind the quarterback that relatively knows what he's doing. I use that word sparingly, relatively. Penned to the Colts in for like 4 wins this season, all right, brother? It's just, that's it. That's it. That's about it. I'm not giving them no more. I'm not giving them no more. I mean, I don't know what to say about this. I mean, Daniel Jones, he is a starting quarterback at the end of the day. That's about all I can say.
The Colts.
I can't even try and justify this. I don't know. I'm more disappointed in Anthony Richardson to lose his starting job to Daniel Jones, man.
I trust me, I hear you. I think that from the Colts' perspective, that it was more so of the fact that he was a little more consistent. I guess, in my opinion, I didn't see it as Jones won it. I just see it as Richardson just didn't
Lost
claim.
it.
Yeah, he just lost it. He didn't claim the starting spot. Obviously, he got injured in the first game against the Ravens. He had fractured his pinky on a sack, but this was the yards per play for a quarterback. So for Daniel Jones against the Ravens, it was 5.4, and then against the Packers, it was 8.3, and then for Richardson, it was 2.5, and then for the Packers it was 5.3.
Yeah, I don't know. Anthony Richardson is just not looking how I think we expected him to look, and those numbers are really just they tell the story. That story.
He also played less. He also had less plays than Jones. Jones had 44. Richardson had 26.
Yeah, you could tell that they knew from the jump. The Colts knew from the jump that they weren't going to start Anthony Richardson. They knew that. They very well knew that, and that's why they gave Daniel Jones so many snaps to get him more comfortable than Anthony Richardson. That's my humble opinion. You
Yeah,
know?
I just think obviously, like I said, the injury
Yeah,
was
yeah.
was a big part of it, obviously, but it was something that I have been saying, and just the fact that Richardson just was not ready when he came out of college. He only had 13 starts in college. That's just one season compared to others where, a Caleb Williams or like a Bryce Young, they've all had like 40 plus. So that's, that his upside, his ceiling is very high, and that's the reason why he was picked he was picked with the fourth pick by the Colts a couple of years ago, because his ceiling is astronomical. Actually,
Mhm.
I think if he played to his potential, we could see like a Cam Newton-esque type of player.
Wow.
Think about it, big body, he could
Mhm.
run, he could throw the deep ball. For the most part, all he had to really do was like get used to, get his accuracy better for like the medium and short throws.
Mhm. Mhm.
Other than that, he basically had everything else. He was just a raw prospect. And that's how I conceived it. And I believe that if they just didn't throw him out to the wolves, then he would have been, if he would have sat for like his first year, then he would have
If
been
the roles were if the roles were had been reversed, or like,
better.
the
Or
last year or two were reversed, like
yeah,
if they had Daniel Jones last year starting, and then you bring him up,
yes,
you bring him up behind Daniel Jones for the last year that you drafted him, not throw him out to the Wolves, and then you throw him to the Wolves this year. It's reversed right now. You know what I mean?
exactly, exactly. If Jones were to get there a year earlier or so,
Yeah.
then yes, it would have
But he was over there stinking up the swamp that is MetLife anyway. So
been.
sorry, guys. Sorry, MetLife. Sorry.
It's
Stinking it up.
it sucks. Richardson is obviously he answered the questions about everything, as professional as he could.
Hmm.
Agent is obviously not happy about it. I don't blame him.
I wouldn't be either, man.
The trust that he mentioned, I don't have the quote in front of me, but the trust factor was like at question now because, you just took off someone who has so much potential and you just brought him back down to a second string over a guy who, if we're comparing stats wise, they're both the same over these couple of
Like
years.
for
They're
real.
literally the same. So Anthony Richardson is just more athletic.
Hmm.
That's all it really is. So yeah, for the Colts, yeah, they're all. I feel like Shane Steichen, the GM over there, I feel like they're all working for their jobs right now because
Oh, most
this
definitely.
if this goes south, and I mean south quickly, then they're in trouble.
4 games. I'm giving them.
Mm-mm-mm.
I got no faith no more. No faith whatsoever.
Well, we know why you have no faith.
Yeah, no, no. I'm giving them 4 games, man. That's about it, and I'm gonna stick to it. If Daniel Jones will get more than 4, I will shut up.
Anyway, we gonna have to see, but they have a division where it's mainly only occupied by Houston right now.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
who knows? He has a path, and unless Trevor Lawrence decides to wake up down at Jacksonville, and then they start to make some noise, but that's a we're in a waiting game with that one too. But back to our previews. This is the last preview for the NFL season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Excited, and right now we are traveling off to the NFC North, going
Okay.
off to the Chicago Bears right now. So obviously the Bears have a new head coach in Ben Johnson, who was also the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. I expect a lot more. not in the beginning of the season, but more so as we move along into the season. I know Ben Johnson's offense, is a little more complex. So I know that he said that he wants to establish pre-snap motions, pass protection, the running attack, and also heavy play action.
Mm,
So I know installing all of that can be a lot, especially for, Caleb Williams coming in, uh, al- almost being like a reborn rookie, if we want to be honest. New offense, new everything, but also he has a good amount of playmakers around him and
mhm,
more. And then also they drafted guys like Colston Loveland. They also drafted Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers
mhm.
as long as having DeAndre Swift back there in the backfield with them. So yeah, this Bears offense is gonna get a new overhaul, and I'm actually excited to see them.
Nah, I'm really excited to see the Chicago Bears this season as well too. I'm excited to see Caleb Williams take that next step. I hope they just build a lot of continuity to build a culture in Chicago because we know that Chicago kind of has a tendency to let their quarterbacks be one-offs almost, and I say that in terms of they do 1 year they have offensive coordinator, they change them the next year, then they change them the next year, and then so I just hope that they're able to build the continuity and let him get comfortable with a guy like Ben Johnson, who was just who you said was the offensive coordinator for Detroit, and we know how high powered that offense was over there,
Yeah,
in Detroit, which we'll get into later. Um, but for him to go over there and install play action, I think that's something that Caleb Williams is going to be comfortable with. Reading pocket, fake pass handoff, things like that. Using his mobility to his advantage, I think is really important. And they got the guys to do it. They have the guys to do it. So very much so. I can agree with you. After you said that, it's gonna take about, I'm gonna give them like half the season to really like get their bearings straight. I'll give them 6 games, but after that, it's turn up time.
yeah, yeah. Especially because you know how the NFL is. Like once we get into like that, no, once we get to the month of November, that's when we
Yeah.
start seeing the playoff. Like the real playoff teams.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I think I'm not expecting them to be in the playoffs exactly, but
Hmm.
if we start seeing them in the hunt, I wouldn't be surprised if they were to sneak in.
Yeah. I wouldn't be either. I really wouldn't be surprised if they could sneak in.
Yeah, no. Going to Detroit. Obviously Detroit has new coordinators after Aaron Glenn leaves for the Jets. Obviously, we just talked about Ben Johnson going to the Bears, but this team still has most of their offense intact. Obviously, they have Goff at the helm. They still have the best running back duo, in my opinion, with Gibbs and Montgomery. They have a great wide receiver room led by Amon-Ra St. Brown, and but a thing that we are gonna have to watch out for is that they are in competition for a new center with Frank Ragnow leaving and retiring. So
Okay.
that's going to be something. On the defensive side, more so looking for them to stay healthy this time around.
Hmm.
Aiden Hutchinson coming back from his leg injury, and then also Terry Arnold. He was one of the best rookies, but also he was very rocky. He had 9 pass breakups, which was third a tie for third most with the rookies. But also he did have 7 defensive passive interference, which was tied for the most with any player. So
Oh God, he
yeah,
needs to get his hands right.
yeah. He needs to get his technique correct.
I'm excited about Detroit, man. We know how close that they came, last year to getting into the big game, the Super Bowl. Um, so I mean, yeah, you got guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, Jared Goff is known to be throw that football, throw that pigskin, as they say.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I expect them to still be, to pretty much win that division, to be quite honest with you. They haven't given me any reason to believe that they can't do it or any reason otherwise. I am interested though because they lost their offensive coordinator and DC as well, their defensive coordinator. So I'm interested to see. Continuity is my biggest thing, man. I will always refer to it. I will always continue to go back to it. Um, so I'm interested to see how much things are going to change and what will change. And if that change either drops them back down or if it, propels them forward finally and not
Yeah.
shoot themselves in the foot at the end of the day or at the end of a game.
Like they have been doing the last couple of years, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. They've been shooting themselves in the foot and when the game matters the most. So hopefully having some new eyes in there and some new voices in there will get them over that. You know what I mean? I think that's important.
Yeah, yeah. I think, obviously their ceiling is high right now. Ceiling is obviously basically the Super Bowl, but we'll see that they're in a arguably the toughest division in the sport of football right now.
Yeah.
And moving on to the Green Bay Packers, biggest question for them is do they actually have a Super Bowl caliber type of offense led by
Mm.
Jordan Love? You have Josh Jacobs in the backfield, and then they just picked up Matthew Golden, who's a great wide receiver out of Texas. And then they already have great pass catchers along with great tight ends and Luke Musgrave and Croft, if Kraft, if I'm not mistaken, excuse me.
Mhm.
And then on the defensive side, they have guys like Rashawn Gary, Quay Walker. They have Xavier McKinney in the secondary. So this is another team with a stacked roster. It's just a matter of can they actually get over the hump this year.
And that's the most important thing, especially too with Jordan Love being injured, for a little bit last year. That really put them in a tough position.
Hmm.
So with Jordan Love coming back and him, playing to his fullest potential, I think is the most important thing because we know how. Like, I mean, people should know like that Green Bay offense and even that Green Bay defense, man. Like they can easily win this division as well too,
Yeah,
very very easily. Um, you know what? They went up against the Eagles last year, right?
yeah,
So they can get in there easily. I think easily might be the wrong word, but they can get in there, um, into the playoff hunt. I think Jordan Love he is that guy, that type of guy at quarterback who's gonna get his team, progressing even forward and even more forward. So it's just about let's just not go back. I think that's really the most important thing here.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just not take two steps back once we've taken these steps forward now.
Exactly, exactly. They have everything they need. It's just a matter of putting it all together at this point.
Exactly, exactly. And then staying healthy too. Staying
Yeah,
healthy, staying
that's
healthy.
key. That's key. Minnesota. This is basically for them. I'm not even worried on the defensive side because they have Brian Flores and because how great Brian Flores is. I'm not even worried for the most part on the defensive side. It's really the offense. JJ McCarthy. He's coming off of a season where he didn't play at all because of obviously the meniscus tear.
Mm,
He was last year's 10th pick, and yeah, the Vikings are really looking to see what he's got.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This Minnesota team, man, is one of the most interesting ones. Story wise surrounding everything. Um, because I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't even know how they're gonna look with JJ. They look good. Who was your quarterback last year?
See,
Uh, Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold was they yeah, because they went up they got up to a hot start. It's coming
yeah,
back now. It's
yeah,
coming back.
he
They got
basically
off to
resurrected his career.
no, seriously. Like seriously. Um so yeah, I'm interested to see if they can stay that high. Obviously, like you said, with that Brian Flores led defense, that defense is going to be top notch as always. I mean, it pretty much but that was what was one of the reasons why they was winning so many games so early on in the season, and then they kind of like tailed off, which was a little surprising. So, um, I think the most important thing is just giving JJ McCarthy that same leeway, that same type of outlook, I guess you could say. Just making sure, like, don't limit him too much because of how successful you guys can be.
Right.
And with a guy like Sam Darnold, is like you said, Sam Darnold resurrected his career, and then and then of course you got JJ, Justin Jefferson.
Mhm.
I was about to call him Triple J from basketball. You got Justin Jefferson. So that gives you. He's one of those guys. Just go throw it up there. He's gonna go get it. So
Exactly.
as long as you got one of them dudes over there, you good. I think JJ will be fine. Genuinely,
Yeah, no,
he strikes me as a poised quarterback that can progress a little bit. Might go a little slow because of the previous injury, but that progression I think will come. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no, they have a great offense. Well, Aaron Jones in the backfield. Obviously, you spoke on Justin Jefferson. They're gonna miss Jordan Addison for a little bit with his running with the law.
Hmm.
But I think that's only like 3, 4 games or whatever. So he should once he comes back, that will help out a lot. And then also having TJ Hawkinson as well. And then the biggest thing is obviously just making sure that the O line is healthy.
Yeah,
But yeah, and now let's get on to the NFC East.
sir. That's my division. Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna start off with the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Obviously, the biggest news obviously is Michael Parsons. Still not paying Michael Parsons. You know, Jerry Jones said that Jerry Jones just actually went on podcast or whatever with Michael Irvin saying that they did offer him like the highest guaranteed money
For a
and
non-quarterback,
for a
yeah.
non-quarterback or whatever. So, and then obviously there was other stuff into that, but we'll see how that plays out over these next couple of weeks before their season opener against the Eagles. But yes, obviously Micah is the story that everybody's talking about. But on offense, Dak is still coming off his hamstring injury, so interested to see how he looks. Left tackle Tyler Guyton is dealing with a knee injury. And then obviously they added George Pickens to go opposite of CeeDee Lamb, so that's going to be good. Wondering what their running back situation looks like with Javante Williams and Miles Sanders there now. And then obviously on defense, still have my concerns even without Micah. The defensive tackles still feel like they're not big enough. Secondary still, eh.
You see, I just yawned. That's because that's how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys right now. Um, they just, I mean, once again, we coming up on week one, and there's still always question marks surrounding people other than the team. You know what I mean? Which is tough, and I'm not even gonna go bring it there. But having Micah there, Micah needs to be there week one. Like, how could you not put yourself in a position to have Micah week one against the Philadelphia Eagles?
Exactly.
And if he does sit out and they lose that game, like, that just proves everything, and it's just a little worrisome more than anything else because his division is stacked right now, and I could see them falling by the wayside. Like I, they was up top for a little bit, in that division, and
Mhm.
now I see them as the fourth best team. Honestly, dude, I'm really for real. I'm really for real on that.
Yeah, no, depending on how the next 3 teams that we're about to talk about, depending on how they look,
Hmm.
they might be in some trouble because matter of fact, let's just do it. We might as well move on to the New York Giants. Russell Wilson is well obviously QB1, but their first their first 4 games are against the Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Chargers.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule.
Yeah.
Week 3 is the season is the home opener
Home opener against
against
and
the
you're
Chiefs.
exactly against a Chiefs squad that got embarrassed in the Super Bowl. So now obviously now they're gonna be on a revenge tour to try to prove everybody that they still are who they are. The Chargers are on I feel like they're on their own little not revenge
They
tour.
are.
They're on a prove it tour more so
Mm,
that they can be that they could keep up with the Chiefs, they can keep up with everybody else in the AFC. And then obviously you have the Commanders coming back with their team. You have the Cowboys who have been able to dominate the Giants over these past few years. So can they still dominate with them?
hmm.
But my question is, you have Russell Wilson as QB1. What happens if you go 1-3? What happens if you mess around and accidentally go 0-4? Then what? Do you move to Jackson Dart then? But then
Yeah.
also, you
Yes.
you do probably, right?
Absolutely, you do. Absolutely, you do. There's no. I mean, I think Russell could get us like 2-2. I
Yeah,
really do.
I can see
I
that.
really do. Um. you know, only because I'm not sure where that Chiefs defense is gonna lie. I'm not having too much high faith in that Dallas defense, and we got cats like a Jalen Hyatt, Malik Neighbors, like Cam Scatterboo, dude, that's my guy. That's like in terms of like workhorse, like
Big
which
dog.
if you just use him and you keep, I think he's probably one of the best running backs that we've had in the last couple of years now. At this point, I mean, ever since Saquon.
Yeah.
Um, But he's the next one up. He's just a dirty dog at the end of the day, like how Brandon Jennings used to be, whatnot. Like that's who I see him being, just a workhorse, like a workhorse. How like a CMC is too, because he could catch out the backfield as well too. So
Yeah,
putting him in the best positions to do that, will just propel the team even further. Um, I like that. Really do like Jackson Dart. I think I was very wrong on him. I think I
yeah.
was really wrong on him, and
I
I gotta
think
eat
you were.
crow. I gotta eat crow.
I think you were a little. I think you were a little over hard on him, but I
Yeah,
also give you the grace because you've been living in basically quarterback purgatory for so long.
I had three quarterbacks. I ain't even have one for the past couple years. Okay, I had Tommy Cutlets. Okay.
That offense is looking good as long as the O line is up. They gonna be on to something. But then the
And I
defense,
like
though.
how, yeah, I like how they moved Evan Neal over to the right guard spot as well
Mhm.
too, like right over from the center instead of him being at a tackle and people just going by him. At least that allows Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, James Winston to be able to step up in the pocket a little bit better instead of just having somebody blindside them, which I think is important. Defense, yeah, go ahead.
Defense is crazy, man. Dexter Lawrence is down there. You got Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and then you have the rookie Abdul Carter,
Bull.
literally who was literally bullying Deion Dawkins, who, for those who don't know, Deion Dawkins is a top 50 player in the NFL right now. He was literally just on the top 100 for the NFL in terms of players. So, like, the fact that Abdul Carter was literally going around him when they were facing the Bills lets me know that, yeah, Abdul Carter might be everything and more that we all think he is.
It's just funny to think like how like at one point like I was like, yo, we could get a Micah. No, no, I got one. I got one. You feel me? I got one. That's fine. He go and he's a dog, man. That defense. Those four names that you just listed off, like, is disgusting, man. I'm actually really excited. I'm actually really excited for the Giants. I haven't been this excited in a long, long, long time. Because
Yeah.
I see energy. I
Yeah.
see I see they all are up. Like Jackson
Everybody's
Dart threw
for
his
each other.
touchdown, and Malik Neighbors was the first one out there, like jumping high up. Then James was out there. Russ was out there.
Mhm.
So like that just shows me like yo, these guys are bought in and they're gonna fight. That's the most important thing, maybe. At least just fight, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, if you have a bought in team, then after that you could do anything you really want to do. And I think Brian Dable, he's put this team in great position to do some great things this season.
Man, yeah, man, yeah, man.
Going to the Eagles, obviously, defending champions, so obviously they got the crown on their heads. Offense for the most part, they're all intact still, everybody's still there. On the defense side, they did lose a lot of guys from Brandon
Hmm.
Graham, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Milton Williams, but they also still have a good amount of young players. They're still
Them young cats that are coming through, yeah.
there,
Hmm.
and they were the ones who were making all the plays for the most part in the Super Bowl. So I think the Eagles are basically. I think we don't have to really say much for them. Or the fact that they're able to retain most of their Super Bowl winning team already says enough on that matter.
It very much that part is, retaining your Super Bowl winning team matters, number one. Number two, to me, and to a lot of people, it just looks like because those young guys were making plays, especially in big moments in big games, um, they just got rid of the older dudes. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And they just
it's a
bought in
good.
the young, and because the young cast was able to prove it, which is crazy to me because it's like they already set themselves up for the next couple of years defensively now.
Right.
If they can still continue to retain them, but they're young enough to where to where you can. Um, I mean, and Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts, dude, and so is Saquon. I'm disgusted still. I will never not be disgusted. But this Eagles team, that's one. They number one right now. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, they got who they got. So they got Dallas week 1, Kansas City week 2, Chargers, Tampa Bay. They got themselves a schedule as well too.
No, they got a tough one too.
They got themselves a schedule, and then they see Washington like later on in the season, which That could be a telling. Those could be a telling game in week 16, week 17. I mean, week 16 and week 18. Those could be telling games of who's gonna win the division too. You never know who's
Yeah.
gonna be 1 and 2. You know.
Yeah, no, those would be a big, and then actually moving on to the Commanders because we only really got a minute, but
Mm-hmm.
moving on to the Commanders, obviously the biggest thing is will they be able to sign Terry McLaurin and will Jaden Daniels have a sophomore slump? But they were able to keep their entire coaching staff. They improved on the O line, got guys like Larry Tunsil Jr. They also got Deebo Samuel to add to some explosiveness to that already explosive offense.
Mm-hmm.
And then on defense, they have Von Miller. They still got guys like Darren Payne, Bobby Wagner, and then they will have Marshawn Lattimore for a full season. So another team that is fully stacked, man.
Yeah, I mean, Washington is if Eagles are 1A, Washington's damn near 1B.
Mhm.
Um, I am interested. I hope Jaden Daniels doesn't have a sophomore slump. We seen it with CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud came out high his first year, second year. You know what I mean? People got tape on you now, so they know how to defend against you, which is going to be important. And I want to see how he reacts. I want to see how he adapts. I think is the better word to say there. And if he's just capable of progressing forward, getting that team over the hump because they came real close too. They came this close. So at least just get me back there to prove to me, like, you know what I mean? We didn't take these 2 steps back anymore.
Yeah, yeah. But hey,
And
man,
you got to sign Scary Terry. You just have to.
yeah, yeah, they have to figure that out. Even
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
urgently.
Yeah.
Urgently.
Like now.
Basically. But
Hmm.
yeah, man, that's our episode for this week.
Great
Like I
episode.
said, college football is really back this weekend, you know. The big game is at 12 o'clock. That's the ranked game between Kansas State and Iowa State. So check in on that. But
Right.
other than that, can't wait.
Let's
Can't
go. We back.
wait.
We back. We back,
Back,
baby. Let's
we
go.
back, baby. Let's go. But till then, I'm your host, Cam Silver,
I'm your co-host, Kyle Silver.
and this is the Silver Boys.
Thank you. Thank you.